It builds up the vitamin C again, builds it back up to normal. Yes? Well, please come up to the mic.
I just have to give an alternate of champagne for the flu. So, for me, what's worked for many, many years, whenever I start getting the flu, I take a quart of water and get it to boil. Then you go down to the health food store and buy some peppermint tea and some catnip. They're both 2 herbs. If you put about 4 teaspoons of peppermint and 4 teaspoons of catnip into that boiling water and let it sit there for about 15 minutes, let it steep, sweeten it with honey, and take it about as hot as you can take it. Sip it with a spoon or whatever you need to do, but take it about as hot as you can take it and then go to bed and cover up. And the catnip will cause you to perspire, and what's happened to me, and I've used it over and over and over, and I can feel the strength come right back into my body. And by morning, you're well. If you have to, take another quart if you can during the night. But by morning, you've been well. I've never been down one day for the flu, not one time. Yeah. That peppermint catnip's a lot better.
This is a problem. Child 6 years old, either girl or boy, 4 feet 4 inches, 40 pounds, sugar 1.5, 520 over 640, 7C, 1 eminent 15 over 12. We're studying pictorial heart attacks. This child will probably be crying with stomachache. And the stomachache, it would be the heart that's causing the problem and not the stomach. And under any known allopath test that I know today, there's no way for this to show up in any of that test. Yet the child is crying at times with stomachache. And unless this condition is corrected, the child will probably drop dead on the school ground or while it's playing. 16,000 children a year drop dead on the school ground because of this condition, all the way from the 1st grade through high school. Many of them while they're doing their athletic program. The strain is too great on their heart. This is also a cause of crib deaths. The cause of crib deaths. Even you find urea this high, even while babies are still nursing, because the urea is too high in the mother's milk. Also, in this type of thing, the child is tired and irritable. If the calcium's low, the child is extremely nervous and cries a lot. So there are many, many things that can be symptoms. Also, you'll notice even children that have these numbers have wrinkles in their forehead. They have a worried look. And many times they have fears that they do not know why. They're afraid and they don't know why. They need a lot of comfort and guidance, and it's a terrible feeling. And so many times, it's so easy to correct. In a case like this, the child should have lots of fruit, and then fruits, lots of fruits to eat, and then work on getting that protein down, the urea down. One of the finest ways to do it is with dolomite. Use some dolomite. In a small child, you may have to take the capsule apart. But at 4 years old, a child can generally swallow the capsules. So this is what you run into in your pictorial heart attacks. Now, this is the first test that I'm talking about. As your 2nd day, 3rd day, 4th day goes along, you will find that the urea is dropping, but your problem is to keep the sugar up, to keep the child from having a seizure or going into a convulsion. If a child does go into a seizure or have a convulsion during this time, all you need to do is put a little honey or some other sweetener on the tongue. The child will come back to consciousness in 1 minute. But if the condition is not corrected, the child probably won't die from a seizure, which is the lack of oxygen now to the brain, but will get over it, but have the problem to reoccur again and again and again. And by the time they get them to the doctor, generally the seizure's over, the child is all right, and the doctor can find nothing. It's very frustrating for the doctor and also for the child. And when you work with this, please remember these symptoms: tiredness, wrinkles in the forehead, nervousness, crying, stomachache, and so forth. The child doesn't actually have stomachache, but he has a pain in the chest, and he calls it stomachache. Yes?
How would you work with lowering the urea here when you got such a low sugar? Be a little careful, you're going to be sugar.
Yes, lots and lots of fresh fruit, and you would have to put different sweetener every day in the lemonade. And work with them as diligently as you can, and you need to test a number of times a day. Also, after a few days, the urea will come down. Then it'll get back up about this high, but after it goes down and re-rises the second time, you will find then that the soluble urea is passing out of the system, but that the insoluble urea is still in there. You can hear this by the heartbeat. It's not so heavy, it's much lighter, and as time goes along, it'll be like a kitty cat walking on eggs. It'll be so soft and nice like a heart should be. But when the heart's pounding all the time, that person's heart is working for a heart attack corporation, which is better known as the American Medical Association or the Drug Society. Yes?
I thought all urea was soluble.
No, sir, it isn't. It may be in protein form. For instance, in grass, the protein is not soluble while it's in the grass. The cow has to eat it, and then as she digests it, or the horse eats it, and to digest it, then it comes out into the form of protein. But it's in molecular form just as well. What is protein when it's in substance? What is the element? Nitrogen. What is nitrogen? An electrolyte. It's a carrier that forms the cells, yes, amino acid cells. So this is the process that which we must remember and watch. Now, as this first few days comes down, this will drop down to maybe 12 over 6, and then it'll drop down to 6 over 3, and then it'll go back up to 8 over 6, and then 10 over 10, and then 12 over 12. In this form, as these other numbers stay anywhere near normal, this slightly rising, you will find that you can see cells in the urine. Looks like an albumin, it pus like cells, and it's stored in those, and in that form it does not cause the heart to beat too hard. Whenever you hear it the first time, under a stethoscope, it sounds like a drum, it's pounding, but as it goes down here, the time it gets down to here, it's beating very softly, because the delta cells are being thrown out rather rapidly. So this is true all the way through. When you see a high urea, and you remember the zones that I gave you for the urea? You remember that? Do you have a copy of them? Okay, you have a copy of those zones where the heart attack zones start and stop. If you don't have that, go back and read your records and get your notes. Also, while we're here, we can study acute indigestion. We got this person here now, but we're going to make this person 36 years old, and we're going to make it just add a 5 here and 100 over here. That's the easy way to do it. And now we have a person that's in the zone for a heart attack, and we're going to cause this person to have acute indigestion.
You gonna leave the one end then?
What's that?
The one end?
Yeah.
Human.
Oh yeah, no, it would be up to 4. I'll be a 4M now. Thank you.
Would it have been a 4 before with all that nitrate?
It probably would have been, yes. It probably would have been.
What's the last number there?
4M 15/12. 720 over 640, 17 salt, and 1.5 sugar. Now we'd have a person here that's subject to have acute indigestion, and therefore it can cause skips and palpitations and beating of the heart and hard beating, and therefore it's aggravating the heart condition, and the heart is tired and it'll over-respond to the slightest thing. And generally you can tell the difference in a pictorial heart attack and acute indigestion. With acute indigestion you have cold hands and feet, or cooler hands and feet. And with a heart attack, you do not have it. Your feet remains warm and your hands remain warm. Let's do something else right here. Let's put a 4 here. Now we have a person that's in danger of having a pectoris heart attack and an angina heart attack at the same time. So now we've really got a problem on our hands, because the person is in danger of having a heart attack. This exaggerates either case, either one. We have changed the 720 to 640, and then we've changed the salt to 47, and the urea remains the same. So the drinking of lemonade and water, or just plain distilled water for the first day, and then starting them on lemonade and water the second day. Do not put them on a fast unless you can test them every day and do absolutely nothing. In this case, you'd also have to be very careful in order to keep the carbohydrates high enough to keep them from having a blackout or going into a coma. So 40 years ago, people used to have acute indigestion, but they don't have that anymore. There's not enough money in it. And it takes 2 weeks to get you over a heart attack. It only takes 30 minutes to get you over acute indigestion. So these are factors that you need to know, but you need to make up your mind quickly. When a person's coming in and the heart's skipping and jumping and lost its rhythm, and the probably beating about 40 beats a minute or less, more or less, you've got to quickly decide whether it's a pectoris or angina heart attack, or whether it's acute indigestion. And what you need to know, and know quickly, is whether the feet are cold or warm or hot, and if they're hot, get them to a hospital as quickly as possible, because they need help that you're not going to be able to give unless you're a doctor and you have the proper things to do to stimulate the heart, which you doctors know what they are, and the others of us, it doesn't matter. So these are factors that you need to know, and know quickly. It's a little easier to treat a pectoris heart attack than it is an angina heart attack, because you get one piece of cholesterol through the heart, and about the time you think you've got it, here comes another piece, and the second piece may be larger than the first one. So therefore it plugs up the heart, and the blood stacks up at the heart, finally causes the rupture of the aorta going into the heart, or the blood vessel, and you're in serious trouble. The rupture is great enough, it's the last for you. It's the end of that patient. So these are factors that you need to study, need to know, and they show up in these readings as I have shown you here. But bringing these things down are about the same as you would see on the left-hand side. The problem is keeping the sugar level up, and keeping them doing absolutely nothing. In other words, any overwork or worry or fright or anger could aggravate and be the point that triggers off the heart attack. Also, there should be no sex with numbers like this.
Dr. Reeves, did you tell us about cold feet? Hot feet, you take them to the hospital. Cold feet?
You give them zest tonic. zest tonic, 1 teaspoonful and 4 ounces. In this case, you'd give them grape juice. Sip it slowly for 30 minutes, or any other juice. But if this number was high, say above 550, then you would put them in skim milk or plain water. Yes? Not for the first 3 or 4 days, no. You would not give dolomite for the first 3 or 4 days. What's that? Not for the first 3 or 4 days, no. I wouldn't give them any type of mineral for at least a week that had these kind of numbers, because if you should give it to them and they should have a heart attack, they blame the last thing that you have given them, or the last thing they took as the cause of the heart attack. So I wait till they get past the danger before I give them any mineral or vitamin at all. Sir?
In all cases?
That's right, in all cases. That's right. With the exception of if it was acute indigestion, I would give them the zest tonic, yes. Anything hard about this? Yes? Would you come up?
The 47 reading, the soluble bridge that I have will only read to 40.
Solar bridge only reads to 40. Dilute your solution and multiply it by 2. Dilute your solution and multiply it by 2. Okay? Any other question about these pictorial heart attacks?
Dilute the solution how much?
Half and half and multiply by 2. Yes?
How long a rest period are you talking about?
Well, at 36 years, I'd talk about 14 days.
We had one solution, or one for the solar bridge, that was below 0. The only way it would even register on 0 was when we had it almost out of the solution, not down like we were supposed to. It's the only way it would register. I was wondering what the problem was. So what we registered was just nothing.
I do not know. It sounded like somebody put water in the sample.
Oh, this is a little tiny, this is just a little 3-year-old girl.
Okay. I don't know. I do not know. Now, these are problems that you have with it. Now, you think that problem's bad. It isn't bad at all.